Duke football is 3-1 for the first time since the 2008-2009 campaign. Hello everyone, welcome to Four Downs as usual. Chris Cusack, Andrew Beaton, Nolan here to give you the latest on Duke football. So let's get right into it, gentlemen. Andrew, this game was a victory for the Blue Devils, but it was not very impressive.
You know, there was a time when Duke football, and that time was just a couple years ago, that they would have been thrilled with any victory. But as we look back on their 38-14 win against the Tigers last Saturday, there were a number of discouraging factors, the main one of which was Duke's turnovers. Duke turned over the ball 4 times Saturday, 2 of which came when Duke was in the red zone. A third of them came when Duke was backed against its own end zone, when Sean Renfrey threw a pick six to a Memphis linebacker. And as Duke looks towards its first ACC game against a Wake Forest team that's 1-1 in the ACC, they can't afford to make those mistakes.
I think you're right. And Wake Forest really has 2 pieces that Duke's going to have to watch out for. They're both on the defensive end. There's Nikita Whitlock and Merrill Noel. Whitlock has missed the last 2 games, and he's questionable for Saturday. He's a nose guard, and they really need some help on the defensive line. They've given up 265 yards on the ground in each of their games so far this season. And then on the other side, you have Merrill Noel, a cornerback, a third-team freshman All-American last season, who might be Connor Vernon's toughest matchup of the year.
And you talk about these offensive matchups. This game, historically, at least in the last decade or so, has been a very high-scoring affair. Duke has not defeated Wake Forest in 12 years, since 1999, but the Blue Devils are going to try to get their first one over the Demon Deacons. They were close last year. For the first time in the last 6 years, the game wasn't over 60 points as far as the total amount scored. It was 24-23. It was a game where Duke really dominated the second half with the exception of a 66-yard pass play to really put the game away for Wake Forest. But in this one, I think it's a must-win for the Blue Devils. If they want to go to a bowl game, this is that X-factor game that everyone marks on their schedules. Not only do they have this long losing streak against Wake Forest, but they also are 3-1. They're trying to make their first bowl game since 1994. If they want to make it, I think they really are going to have to win this ball game. With that being said, let's get to predictions in 4th down right now. Andrew, Chris, where do you see this thing going?
Agreed with you on every account. I see this being high scoring, but I see the Demon Deacons pulling this one out 38-34. Chris?
Again, over the last 12 years, Wake Forest has won every game, but I really think all of them have been really close, or most of them have been really close. I see another close game, 31-28. I do still see the Demon Deacons winning.
We'll contact the Wall Street Journal. I'm going to be a homer here. I think it's going to be 35-28 Duke. It's been so long, and not only from a historical standpoint, but this team has improved so much defensively, especially in tackling. We talked about Ross Cockrell a lot last week as well. This is a better defensive team. I still think it's going to be over 60 points. I think Duke does get the victory, and they go to 4-1. So that's going to do it for 4 Downs. Once again, for Chris Cusack, Andrew Beaton, and myself, thanks for joining us.